peaceful village of Umuaka, nestled between tall palm trees and gentle streams, there lived a young girl named Amaka. From the day she was born, the villagers knew she was special. As she grew, her beauty blossomed like the hibiscus flower. Her skin shone like the morning sun after rainfall, smooth and radiant. Her eyes sparkled like clean river water, full of life and warmth. Her laughter danced through the air like music, and her smile, her smile, could melt even the hardest of hearts. Men whispered about her in awe. Women admired her grace. Children followed her around just to be near her. Whenever she walked through the market square or fetched water from the stream, necks turned and mouths opened. People would often stop and say, "This one is not ordinary. She must be the true daughter of the gods." But despite the admiration and love from the villagers, Amaka's life was not always filled with joy. Behind her glowing beauty was a heart carrying silent sorrow. Amaka lost her mother when she was still a little girl. Her mother had been a gentle and loving woman, the kind that made every corner of the home warm. When she passed away after a brief illness, Amaka was left broken. Her father, Amadi, who once showered her with affection, couldn't handle the emptiness for long. After a few months, he married another woman named Omalicha, a woman known for her charm and cunning smile. Omalicha moved into the house with her own daughter, Ugonma, a girl just a few years younger than Amaka. At first, things were calm. The family shared meals, did chores together, and even laughed under the moonlight. Amaka, with her kind heart, welcomed them warmly and treated Ugonma like a real sister. For a time, it seemed that peace had returned to the house, but trouble came slowly, like a snake slithering into a henhouse. As days passed, jealousy began to grow in the hearts of Omalicha and her daughter. They noticed how people still praised Amaka's beauty and admired her gentle ways. Ugonma, though not unattractive, felt invisible whenever Amaka was around. Villagers compared them often, and Amaka always came out shining. The jealousy that started as a small whisper in Omalicha's heart soon became a roaring storm. Omalicha began planting evil seeds in Amadi's heart. She would speak softly to him at night. "Your daughter is proud. She looks down on me and Ugonma. She's disrespectful. She no longer listens to you. Are you sure she doesn't steal from your room when you're not around?" At first, Amadi dismissed these words, but as Omalicha continued to repeat them with tears and fake concern, he began to change. The love in his eyes for Amaka faded. He no longer smiled at her. He stopped calling her
"my jewel." And so, the bright light that once filled Amaka's world began to dim. One day, an important event was about to take place in the palace, a great chieftaincy meeting where all the elders and leaders of the village would gather. Amadi, being one of the respected chiefs, needed to dress in full regalia, which included his special chieftaincy cap, a symbol of his honor and authority. But that morning, something strange happened. Amadi searched everywhere for his cap, but it was nowhere to be found. He called for everyone in the house. "Where is my cap? Who took my chieftaincy cap?" he shouted in anger. The house was in chaos. They searched the bedroom, the sitting room, even the kitchen and storehouse. The cap was missing. Just then, Omalicha, pretending to be helpful and concerned, softly suggested with a sly smile, "My husband. Maybe someone mistakenly packed it in their bag. Let us search everyone's bags just to be sure." Amadi, now boiling with frustration, agreed immediately. "Yes, search all the bags." They started with Omalicha's own bags. Every corner was opened. Nothing was found. Next, they moved to Ugonma's bags. Still nothing.
Finally, they reached Amaka's bag. As soon as they opened it, there it was, sitting right at the top, the missing chieftaincy cap. The whole house fell silent. Amadi's face turned red with anger. "Ah, so you are the thief," he roared. Amaka fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "No, father, I swear upon my mother's grave I did not take it. Someone must have put it there to punish me." But her words fell on deaf ears. Amadi turned away from her, disgusted. "You have brought shame to my house. From today, you are nothing but a servant in this home." From that day forward, Amaka became like a maid in her own father's house. Every chore, no matter how heavy or difficult, was given to her alone. She swept, cooked, fetched water, cleaned, and worked from sunrise till sunset, while Omalicha and Ugonma relaxed and mocked her daily. Despite the pain, Amaka's good heart remained. She refused to allow bitterness to take over her soul. She still greeted people with smiles. She still helped neighbors whenever she could. One afternoon, while returning from the market carrying her goods, she saw an old woman struggling with a heavy load. Without hesitation, Amaka rushed forward. "Mama, please let me help you," she offered. "No, my child, I can manage," the old woman said, but Amaka gently insisted and carried the heavy load for her. As they walked together, the old woman looked at her with kind eyes and said softly, "My daughter, you have a good heart. One day your kindness will lift you high. Don't stop being good." Amaka smiled through her tears, thanked the old woman, and continued her journey home. Another day, as the sun began to set behind the tall palm trees, Amaka was returning from the stream with a clay pot of water balanced carefully on her head. The road was quiet, the breeze soft. Suddenly, she noticed something unusual by the side of the bushy path. A man was lying on the ground, his body bruised and his clothes torn. He looked helpless, breathing slowly and painfully. Without thinking twice, Amaka dropped her pot carefully and rushed to his side. "Sir, are you okay?" "What happened to you?" she asked, her voice filled with concern. The man tried to speak, but was too weak. Amaka reached into her wrapper and pulled out a small calabash of water. She gently lifted his head and gave him a few sips. He drank slowly, and after some minutes, his breathing became steady. "Thank you. You have saved me," the man whispered. "My name is Abali." Amaka smiled softly. "Rest now. You'll be fine." Not long after that day, the village announced a grand festival, one that happened only once in many years. The prince of the land would choose a bride from among the maidens of the village. Excitement filled the air as young women rushed to prepare. They braided their hair, bought fine clothes, and adorned themselves with beads and perfumes. Omalicha, as expected, went to the market and returned with a shining new gown, expensive earrings and colorful beads, all for her daughter, Ugonma. She handed them to her with joy, right in front of Amaka, just to mock her. Amaka said nothing. She quietly went to her small box and pulled out an old dress, the last gift her late mother gave her. She held it close to her chest, wiped away a tear, and said, "This will do. I will go like this." But that night, as the moon cast its pale light through the small window, Amaka slept peacefully, unaware of the evil plan unfolding. Quietly, like a shadow, Omalicha tiptoed into the room, holding a sharp pair of scissors. The only sound was the steady rhythm of Amaka's breathing. Omalicha knelt beside the bed, her face filled with wicked determination. She reached out and grabbed a handful of Amaka's thick, beautiful hair that everyone in the village admired. With each harsh snip, locks of hair fell to the floor. She worked quickly, cutting uneven patches all over her head until Amaka's once glorious hair looked wild and scattered like that of a mad person. Morning came. As the first rays of sunlight touched her face, Amaka stretched, then reached for her head. Feeling the rough, uneven patches, she screamed in horror, "Who did this to me?" Outside, Omalicha and Ugonma laughed loudly. "How do you like your new look?" they jeered, clapping their hands with wicked joy. Before Amaka could even think of going to the festival, Omalicha had one more wicked plan. Early that morning, she called Amaka into the compound and pointed at a huge pile of dirty clothes. She had gathered every cloth in the house, even clean ones, and threw them all into the heap. "Before you go anywhere today, you must wash all these clothes," she commanded coldly. Then she walked to the water drums and, without warning, poured out every drop of water. "You must also fetch enough water to fill all these drums," she added, smiling wickedly. She turned towards the kitchen and said, "Don't forget, there is no firewood left. You must gather plenty of firewood too." Amaka stood frozen, her heart heavy with sorrow. The festival was already starting, and the tasks before her seemed impossible. She sat in the compound, confused and helpless, but after a moment, she wiped her tears and decided to begin by fetching firewood. As she walked deep into the bush, she suddenly saw a man standing by a tree. It was Abali, the man she had helped weeks earlier. "Why are you not at the festival?" Abali asked, surprised. "My stepmother gave me heavy chores before I can go," Amaka replied sadly. Abali shook his head with pity and said, "Because you showed me kindness, I must tell you the truth. Your stepmother paid me to rape you today, to stop you from attending the festival. But I could not harm someone as kind as you." Without wasting time, Abali joined her. Together, they quickly fetched firewood, washed the clothes, and filled the water drums. With the chores done, Amaka dressed in her old but neat gown and set off for the village square, her heart beating fast. By the time Amaka arrived at the village square, the festival was already at its peak. The drums were beating, flutes sang sweet melodies, and the entire village was gathered under the big iroko tree, where the prince sat on a high platform, surrounded by his elders and guards. Beautiful maidens dressed in colorful attires paraded before him, each hoping to be chosen as his bride. Ugonma stood confidently among the maidens, her face glowing with pride. Her mother, Omalicha, stood nearby, smiling widely, certain that today her daughter would become royalty. The prince looked at the maidens one by one, but none of them stirred his heart. Just as he was about to point at Ugonma, his eyes suddenly caught a glimpse of someone entering the square. It was Amaka. Even in her old but neat dress, with her hair uneven and cut, there was something special about her. She walked gracefully, her face pure and full of quiet strength. The prince's heart skipped a beat. The light of true beauty, humility, and goodness shone from her. Without hesitation, he stood up, walked down from the platform, and moved through the crowd towards Amaka. "This is my bride," he declared loudly. The entire square fell silent. Then gasps of shock and whispers filled the air. Some clapped, some murmured. Omalicha and Ugonma froze, their faces turned pale with shame. They quickly covered their faces, unable to bear the stares of the crowd. Just then, Abali stepped forward, raising his hand. "I have a confession to make," he shouted. The people turned their attention to him as he spoke. "This kind young woman once saved my life, but her stepmother, Omalicha, paid me to harm her today, to stop her from attending this ceremony. But I could not carry out such evil against one who has done only good." There was a great uproar. The villagers shouted in anger. The king, burning with rage, stood and commanded, "Guards, take Omalicha and Ugonma away. They are banished from this village forever for their wickedness." The guards dragged the wicked women away, while the villagers cheered. The prince gently took Amaka's hand, and together they walked to the palace. In time, Amaka became the beloved queen of the land. Her kindness, patience, and pure heart lifted her from suffering to great honor. And so, the people of Umuoka told this story to their children for generations, teaching them, no matter how people try to pull you down, goodness will always rise above evil. Thank you for watching. Which part of the story touched your heart the most? Kindly share your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories.
Like and subscribe.